Welcome to the CodePlay Culture Podcast, where we discuss tech, gaming, health, and the world around us.
Hey, welcome back to CodePlay Culture. Today we're going to talk about the retro gaming revival, emulation, nostalgia, and the moral quandaries around ROMs. So we'll get into a bit of an overview of the rise of retro gaming, especially in recent years, the nostalgic appeal of classic games, why players want to relive the past, talk about a little bit of history from the early days, some of the legal areas, debates around emulation, and talk about preserving video game history. So what's up, Logan?
Sorry, I was on mute. How are you?
Doing good. And we got Rui here.
What's up, everybody?
So yeah, let's talk about ROMs. I mean, it's been a while since I've played them, but I used to love the old Nintendo and Super Nintendo ones like ZSNES, and you guys probably have more experience with them than I do.
Have you guys heard of Cyanogen? Cyanogen?
Wait, that sounds familiar. Was that some kind of like OS?
Yes,
image?
Some kind
ROM?
of OS or ROM emulator thing. But anyhow, they're able to, I guess, through some layer on top of Cyanogen or whatever, do Zelda Breath of the Wild at like 4K 60 frames a second as a ROM.
Wow. Oh, that's
so
great.
If you type into YouTube, Breath of the Wild 4K 60 FPS emulation, they're able to take current games and just crank up the, what the Nintendo Switch isn't capable of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Chris left the building.
Yeah. Chris is dealing with some intermittent internet connectivity issues, and he will be popping in and out. But that's the world we live in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, ROMs, no, I've heard of that ROM, but I've never really used it. But thinking back, that's like older. That's like back in the day, right? Those kind of ROMs. Like they don't have that anymore, do they?
Maybe it's like some evolved version, or like I'm pronouncing something incorrectly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But man, ROMs. I do. I play
There's
ROMs.
Nothing's wrong with them. You might
There's
as well
nothing
play them.
wrong with a ROM. Yes.
Other than the piracy, kind of aspect. But what are you playing right now?
I play, like, me and my son. We have Xbox, like original Xbox, the Xbox Tank, right?
Yeah.
And on that Xbox, I have a CD that has all the ROMs. It's like a MAME Ultra CD, and it has pretty much every. Actually,
you put the CD inside the Xbox?
Yeah, it's actually called Retro Legends. It has about 6,000 ROMs on it, and you could pick the system you want, kind of like RetroArch, right?
Yeah. Is RetroArch the one where you have all the systems, you pick them, and that's kind of cool.
It's cool. So RetroArch is an evolution of what I'm using, which is a very old concept.
Yeah. It's like, you remember before Plex, it was called XBMC?
Yeah. Xbox Media Center?
It could have been. I think that's what that stands for, right?
I think that's what it stands for. I can't remember.
Yeah. And then it became Plex, right? Which is a way for you can play your DLNA, files over a network.
Right.
Yeah. The same thing kind of happened for, I guess, what did you call it? Something ARC?
RetroArch?
RetroArch is like a generic OS to like visualize your ROM library, or am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely not wrong.
Okay.
That's cool. Exactly what it's used for.
I like that idea.
And if I remember correctly, it
nicely done.
We have to stop with these puns.
Yeah, exactly.
The audience is going to punish us. Oh,
no. Yeah. My favorite rapper is Big Pun. Which is also.
Anyways, I'm probably gonna have a pun for lunch. I meant a bun. I'm getting hungry talking about all this retro stuff. But okay, going back, let's take a step back. Let's regress, if we can, for the moment. And what was the last ROM you actually downloaded and played, if any?
Majora's Mask.
Oh, nice. On the N64 emulator? Which one?
Honestly, I can't even remember. I just remember you could save the state.
Oh, that's my
which
favorite thing to do.
trumps like going and saving from whatever Moogle you have to save with. Can you imagine every time you had to save your Word document, you had to like find a Moogle?
That's terrible. No, save states are great, man.
Yep.
They're a godsend.
Yeah.
But the last one I played, I think it was Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
It was Ninja Gaiden.
Did you say Ninja Gaiden or did you say Ninja Gaiden? Which one is it, Gaiden or Gaiden?
I'm not sure, but
it's
one or the
tomato,
other.
tomato. It's an impossible game. You
almost
have to be a ninja.
States, yeah. You have to have ninja like reflex.
Can you get back like on Xbox, right? Or
it was on NES on NES on the Xbox, yeah.
Right. Have you played the Xbox Ninja Gaiden?
No. Is it good?
Is
it the same kind of?
I can't get past the first boss, which is in line with the NES version.
Right.
It was like, you know how Dark Souls or From Software Soulsborne games are notoriously, infamously hard?
Yeah.
Well, I beat a lot of them except Sekiro or Sekiro. But Ninja Gaiden or Gaiden or McGlyven, whatever the scientist from Simpsons.
Yeah.
I can't get past that first boss. It's like, makes me feel like I suck at gaming, But then I realized, no, there's just a hack. You go watch YouTube. It's like to some cheese.
There's always a way, man. It's not fair that they make the game that way. Anyways, it should be made in a way where you can comfortably play it and enjoy it and not be stressed out.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you have for like ROMs, do you have like a retro cabinet that has like a joystick that's...
I wish I can build one, man. Honestly, that is probably my end game. When I reach my final level, I want that as that's all I want.
Yeah. So
is a retro cabinet.
You like get to the end and whatever creator says to you, hey, so do you think you did everything you wanted? And you're like, shoot, I didn't build that cabinet. It's like back to earth.
That's exactly it, man. I got to come back and build that cabinet with the multiple screens and the dual controls, double control sticks, for 2 players, maybe 4, maybe the Ninja Turtles cabinet with the 4-player arcade sticks. That would be awesome. But no, it's for me, it's on PC and Xbox, and which is on my television, of course. Yeah, man, that's the extent of it. And I was playing Super Mario 2 recently, which is pretty fun, man. It's a pretty fun game.
Is it a dream?
Yeah, I think it's a dream. Yeah. It's a dream
so it's
world.
Not even real.
Doki Doki Panic. It's not even real, no.
What's Doki Doki Panic? Is that like some kind of code for like the underground?
It's the underground code. No, that's like the Super Mario Brothers 2 game. They replaced, it was a different game, and they replaced all the skins of this game with Super Mario Brother skins. And essentially it was a different game, and it became Super Mario Brothers 2, but it was Doki Doki Panic. That was the original title or the original game.
I remember just you start the game falling, and then Peach is the best regardless. But the fact that she can float glide or glide is like satisfying.
Yeah.
And for some reason, physics don't matter because the gliding, the dress is frozen in place as it glides, almost like a pixel art. But I guess that's what it was.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
So,
are we? I guess we're gonna move on with this retro.
Yeah, we're gonna continue, and hopefully Chris will be resurrected.
Chris will probably join us at some point. He'll be. He probably has an extra life somewhere that he's gonna use, or a green mushroom he's cooking up right now. I don't know.
I just realized we have to, between you and I, find that green mushroom and give him a 1-up. And we'll probably add in some kind of sound effect to the pod, if he does resurrect. But if he doesn't, we'll just put in the video placeholder, Chris will be back after these commercial messages.
Yeah.
But maybe we can talk about a little bit what inspired the topic for the emulation. Because I've been thinking about dipping my toe back into the ROM library based on that OS, that generic OS, and doing that kind of stuff. But have you been playing more often than prior?
Yes, I have. Yeah, because like I cleaned out my garage and have a television in there,
Yes.
and my Xbox is plugged into that. So there I go, man. Easy to pick up. It's not like a game where you have to invest or games where you invest too much time, right? It's play it, turn it off. It's not a grind, right?
Yeah, like you're a infamous cable cutter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you went super hardcore back to like discs.
Yeah.
I love that.
did. Yeah, I
Because
love
if
it
it's
too,
like
man.
online and if it's like connected, excuse me, and if you don't have to get up to action the next media, we're pretty much just plugged into the machine as they milk us, right? In terms of
Yeah.
like free will, like they're just sapping our attention in exchange for our entertainment and
Yeah,
then
for sure.
subliminals, you know?
And it's terrible with the microtransactions and all the connectivity in games, and you have to be connected.
Yep.
You have to get
Yep.
the latest this, and they have to feed you whatever. But
Yeah.
no, I love the fact that there's a disconnect there between your product and the company you purchase it from. The disconnect's right there. All I want is my warranty when I
Yep.
buy something, and that's it. Leave me alone. It's now mine, right?
Yes. Because if it's on the cloud, it's typically not yours, right?
Right.
Like the disk, essentially, some of the disks, I believe, just hold nothing
Hmm.
and a license.
Yeah.
So when they spin up, that's like really downloads from the cloud or whatever. I forget if this is something like it's partially true of what I'm saying, but like the disk is the representation of the license that you purchased it. Now, if you lose access to your online persona or whatever, like you don't own that software
Right.
because it's on some server that you have to ask for it back. Like if you purchase something, like society should get something in return, right? That's tangible,
For
physical.
sure. Well, you should
Whether,
be able to resell it. If it's yours and you purchase it, you should
yeah,
be able to resell it. And you cannot
yes,
do that with online media right now. Not that I'm
yes.
aware of. I don't know how it works. Like maybe Steam. Well, can you in Steam? I don't think you can.
I know in Epic, at least in Fortnite, you can gift things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then if you have a creator code, you can get a discount and gift things.
Yeah,
But you have to apply for anyhow.
but
Did
that's
you hear
different.
about
Nobody owns the game,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Did
That's
you
that
hear
different.
about the EU
Mm-hmm.
with the App Store whole debacle on like Twitter? And then there was something like, do you hear about the drama on Twitter with, I think, Epic, Fortnite, and Apple?
Mm-hmm.
And I could be like just remembering things incorrectly, but I don't think I am. Did you hear about this?
I have not. No.
It was something about how if you monopolize some, and for anyone listening, if I misstated anything, fact check it and please leave a comment below. I will edit with the show notes and whatnot. But it was something to do with if you monetize the marketplace, app stores, right? Then you always have to give a cut to Apple, right? Or cut to Google, whatever. So you can't offload or download, apps from generically for iPhone easily, right? As you can APKs with Android.
Right.
So if you go to Epic's main website, you can download the Epic kind of App Store app now, which is side-loaded onto an iPhone, but it is side-loaded only in Europe right now because it's actually a different app store. Because you know how the EU consortium forced Apple to like, hey man, you guys can't like monopolize and then not have standards. Throw away your Lightning port. You need USB-C. That was a big one. It's the same with the app stores. Like they're trying to, be fair and reduce monopolies. And I'm not sure the whole intent behind it, but yeah. So it's weird. You can get it's like getting the Google Play Store on Android and also the Amazon App Store on Android. Two different app stores, which is typically unheard of, I think, when it comes to Apple. Yeah, but it's kind of fascinating with that kind of stuff. So getting back to who owns it, hopefully Apple less, when it comes to digital stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when they take 30% or whatever astronomical thing, that's not like, hopefully there's more. And probably next would be Epic. I know it's like the pot calling the kettle black when it's Apple and Epic, but Epic, when you get their game engine, it's like 30% for all the sales, but it's good because up to like $500,000 or something. So like if you get $500,000 of revenue, you have to pay 30%, something like that. So like, man, if you're making that much money, you're okay to pay the huge percentage for the engine and all that.
I don't know, man. 30% to them, 63 to the government. Like, what are you left?
What are you left with? So, yeah, you're talking about like it better, if it's $500,000, it better be like it go gangbusters to 10 million, right? There's nothing in between that is like financially, sustainable based on your headcount of your developers, all that stuff, right? That's why probably a lot of game studios like close. It's like just if it doesn't hit and go viral, everyone's out of the job, right?
Yeah. So going, piggybacking on your point with the financial aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
They saw that there was a market for retro gaming at some point over the last decade, and they pushed it all into their own app stores, their own paid platforms, right? Like Nintendo did it.
Yeah. With Nintendo Online.
And, like Sony's doing it now with their extra with all the PS3 games and the older ones. So they're seeing there's a market for it, and they're trying to capitalize on it, which is fine. Nothing wrong with it. But as long as we are allowed to have our emulators and ROMs, right? When they start attacking or coming after that, we're going to be in trouble, right? The thing is, they can't do anything because if I own it, I guess according to the laws, if I own the media, I can have a backup of the media, which is a ROM, right?
Yeah. It's like you ever get a 4K disc or a Blu-ray. And by the way, 4K disc, Blu-ray completely trump streaming Netflix at 4K, Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision. Like night and day. Didn't realize this, but definitely worth buying 4K discs if you love the movie and you want the definitive edition, like Ready Player One. Oh my gosh, it's like mind-blowing beautiful in Dolby Atmos compared to whatever streaming platform. But when you buy the 4K and Blu-ray, sometimes you get a digital version of that you can download and keep. That's kind of like the same thing as like an Xbox, PlayStation game that you like own it for life. Here's the MP4 kind of thing, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. And that is the best case scenario, right? But now when, what is it? The online sales or online sales of video games have tipped 50%, right? On the PlayStation Network. I think the stat was over 50%. We talked about this on one of our previous podcasts.
Yep.
And it's now over a threshold where they're seeing way more financial gain doing a digital game instead of a physical. And that means we're in trouble over the next coming years. Like we're in trouble, man. I mean, that is if you're a gamer. If you're not a gamer, who cares? Right?
Yeah, I agree. It's like then you got limited run stuff where you can sometimes get the physical.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always try to support limited run because I'm like, yeah, man, I want the physical, even though if I beat it before, and even if it's like not the actual flavor of the game that I really wanted, the digital one is actually high resolution or whatever variant of that, up resolutioned version of the game is. Like, I don't care if I'm buying the incorrect game as long as I support physical for a game that I love.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you on that point. And also the emulation or the backup of ROMs has another benefit, and that is archiving things, right? Games won't be lost to history, right? We're archiving these on the internet, and they'll be there till the end, right? Which is
and
exactly
if the AI lets us like review what we uploaded to the internet, then we're cool. So like, don't say mean things to Amazon Echo and all that.
Yeah, man. So that's it in a nutshell, man. The I think it's going to grow. I think this market's going to grow exponentially, especially with newer games being backed up and being able to be played through an emulator, like PS1 games, now PS2 games, right? So it's not going to stop. It's only going to grow.
Yeah, like I just wish there was a software hardware AI that would remove the black bars on the left and the right and make 4x3 games HD 16:9 without any degradation in quality, like you
Without
know,
stretching.
yes, without stretching squall and cloud on PS1 to be like squowed, like inappropriately squished.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What else? What else are we going to talk about? Let's see. Let me check my notes here.
Yeah. So honestly, the one thing I will say about Dreamcast, wait a minute, it's Dreamcast? A little bit,
Yes.
but it is like, who am I talking to there? Is they have a weird thing. I think it's called like the Dolphin emulator or something like that. But you have to play these specific emulated GameCube, Xbox, and Dreamcast games on this Dolphin emulator thing on an Xbox Series S or an Xbox One S, not the X, not the whatever.
Yeah.
There's some reason, but then you load it and you go into File Manager, and now you got that whole beautiful ROM interface. And we're talking about like Dreamcast and GameCube games that have been like up resolution to HD, like through some kind of AI thing or community driven development.
Yeah.
Playable on the Xbox natively with the controller. Like you can have access to all of your Dreamcast games, I think, and like some of them are like HD remake, like through this path. Have you seen this?
No.
Yeah, I think you would search on YouTube Xbox One S Dolphin Dreamcast GameCube HD,
Yeah.
and then you'll find it. It's very specific, but if you like GameCube and Dreamcast and you want HD versions of a lot of your favorite games, then it's worth checking out. I have bits and pieces of the memory, but it looks incredible.
Nice. No, that's good, man. I'll have a look for sure. What do you think of the? What do you think of the? Goodness, I can't even speak today. I'm running low on coffee.
Yeah,
It's time
good,
to refresh my supply. What do you think? Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
What do you think about the economic implications of ROMs? Do you think it hurts sales, underlying sales, or is it something where no, it doesn't hurt sales at all? What's your take on that?
I think at first it hurts sales, but it doesn't hurt sales at all if you have a economy acceptable of pivoting on a dime or going with the flow changes. If you see a fork in the road, and you go straight, meaning that there's a path in the grass, metaphorically and actually, you notice all these people are cutting through this field, big green field, and now you have this big straight, like muddy area because people cut right through. Now, as a government, you could just say, hey, no, we'll put up some fences so you can't actually take the shortest path there.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing with like Canada and legalizing marijuana, right? If the government can make money off of it and go with the flow, sure, they should do that with other drugs too. Shouldn't, criminalize people that have like issues, like maybe work on people that are hurting people with weapons and other reasons, right? Same with ROMs and emulation. If it works for us, Nintendo and all these other people did the right thing eventually, and they capitalized on it. But it took them a bit. It was looked at for years as stop stealing stuff, right? Almost like the wares or games with the Z of the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Honestly, man, I think it's messed up that that anybody's even suggesting that it's a loss of revenue. For one, one super important thing is that they already sold the game. They made their money.
Right.
Now they're just trying to squeeze more juice out of that dry ass lemon. I shouldn't be saying.
Yeah, and that's
Juice out
not
of
fair.
that dry lemon. That's not fair, right?
Yeah.
You buy a car from a dealership, you sell it to somebody 5 years later. Imagine them knocking on the door and saying, no, we want a piece of what you sell. You already bought the car. You paid full price for it.
Yeah.
They have no place to tell you or to say that it's lost revenue. That's complete nonsense. That's just greed.
Yeah, it's like, you know how The Last of Us, it's like, you know what? The Last of Us, you won't see The Last of Us. And they released it like 5 times. Maybe it's 4 or 3. But like how many times, and I rebought them all, like not a sucker, but I did find a reason each time. Okay, I can see why I would want the HD version of the game I love. And, I didn't like the second, just like you said you didn't, right? But the first one was epic. And then rebought on PS5 because they released the PS4. Maybe that one I could have left out. Then they did an actual remaster on PS5, Definitive Edition, and I bought that one and sold the others. But like buying the same game like 4 times in a series of like 7 years, the exact same game, nothing's changed other than a patch for like $59. You're paying the same price over and over again. Maybe one of those two is like criminal, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I have it. Why can't I play it on this console? It's
Right.
like, no, it played on the old one that's not supported. What?
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's that greed, right? They made their sale. It's that greed, right? Because I remember years ago, who was it? I can't remember who it was. There were game companies that took EB Games to court because people were buying used games because they didn't get a piece of that cash. They wanted a piece of that cash. Talk about
the people that originally sold the used game to them.
No, the game companies were taking EB Games to court because they wanted a piece of the reseller or resale market, right?
Yes.
And that is terrible, right?
Yeah. I'm kind of not okay with it, but I think that if it was set up from the beginning as like some kind of margin goes back to the game company, but not the way it went down, right? Like if EB Games bought those games, right? Because I remember this one. It was like hurting the game industry. I'm air quoting because I'm uninformed, actually. Maybe it was hurting the game industry, right? In all fairness. But if they could have structured something from the beginning that when they resell one, 5% goes back to the gaming manufacturer and 5% goes to charity or something,
Right.
that would have been better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like
but
a charity of the
right?
game maker's choice or something. I don't know. Which actually you can't do that because conflict of interest. It'll just be a charity that they own.
Needless to say, they lost that court case, and rightfully so, because they shouldn't see a penny of that once they make that sale. It's unfair to the customer.
Yes. Because they own it and now they double own it, meaning that it's been transferred twice.
Right.
If it doesn't even make sense, like why would you sue EB Games for getting money back when a portion of the sale was not going back to the original person that sold the game to EB Games? Like if I sold The Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
And then no, don't skip me. That better have been a class action lawsuit to get money. And maybe it would have went better because it's like, we're for the people.
Yeah.
And us. I'm like, they just went company greed style, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, guess what? I think we're going to call this.
Yeah.
It's been good. And
I know we haven't podded in a while and Chris dropped, but
yes. So
after a commercial message and a trip from our main sponsors or whatever the jargon is before commercial, I'm sure Chris will be back in full capacity after he gets a fiber internet upgrade.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for joining us on this trip down memory lane. Although short, we will definitely revisit this topic when Chris returns and talk about it in a lot more detail and length.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.